What's up, everybody? Coach CeeLo here, and welcome to episode 80 of the No Bullshit Six-Figure Sales Podcast. And today I did something very special. I had somebody reach out to me a few hours ago, as a matter of fact. Shout out to my brother. It was his birthday. Is his birthday, actually. But anyway, and he gave me an idea for an episode. And the idea, I had other ideas, but I decided to go with this one. Let's talk about saving a deal, right? Saving a rescission, trying to turn it around when you lost that deal. So, first of all, to be able to have this conversation, let's be very precise, all right? This is more for my timeshare sales reps than it is for my high-ticket closers, because my high-ticket closers, I'm going to tell you right now, give it one shot at trying to save it, and if not, let it go. Onwards and upwards. You got to go on to the next call, go on to the next one, and let it go. But if you're in timeshare, and actually, the first part of this is going to apply to my high-ticket closers anyways. I should have thought of that. If you're in timeshare and you want to avoid rescissions, and you want to overcome just get past a rescission, recover from a rescission. I just let it go. It was a Freudian slip. The first one is to avoid them altogether, right? Do things to avoid getting a rescission in the first frickin' place so you won't have to worry about it later. Now, how do you do that? There's a couple of ways. Number one is by seeding things into your presentation that you can cover later if necessary. Now, this is why I say seeding. You sure as hell do not want to give somebody an objection that they don't have. Don't do that. Don't talk about them changing their minds. Don't talk about them, having buyer's remorse. Don't talk about any of that. Now, there's two schools to this, and I'll talk about that later. But what you can do is seed. And what I mean by seeding, this is a very specific type of seeding. I've spoke about seeding before, right? Think about like when you seed the ground. You're dropping some seeds in the ground. Some of them will take, some of them won't. The water will come. Some of them will sprout, some of them won't, right? You can do that many ways. But in this specific case, what you're doing is you're leaving little bits of conversation that in no way to whoever's receiving the information, they would think it has anything to do with a rescission. But those little seeds that you left will allow you to go back into that thread later if you're starting to get any kind of rescission behavior. Let me give you an example. One of the things that I love to seed in my presentation is when I am talking about the company that I am representing as a timeshare sales professional, whatever company it is, there's going to be a moment when you're going to be talking about the company's credibility. And whether your presentation has numbers on that or not, there's going to be some sort of effect of where you're talking about how well you're doing, how customers love it, how you're covering all of these things that could end up being questions later, like how easy is it for me to make a reservation? Will I be able to get to the places that I want when I want? How happy are people with this product? Do a lot of people change their minds? You would never mention that in that way. But if you seeded things into your presentation that talk precisely about how we have an X% satisfaction rating, there's X percentage rate of people are getting to where they wanted to when they wanted to, things like that. All it seems like you're doing is giving just an honest presentation, which you are, and you're representing your company. You're talking about your company's credibility. But what you're also saying is the opposite, what it's not doing. So if you've got a very high success rate and people getting to where they want, You're also saying that people rarely don't get what they don't want, right? So you're seeding those into the presentation. One of the big reasons that you get nowadays that's been happening for the last couple of years that didn't happen before were reviews. Maybe people go on the internet and maybe they check bad reviews. That happens. Now, how the heck can you seed that up front? You seed it up front by talking about the satisfaction ratings of the company. You seed it up front by saying how great the company's doing. You can also invert that a little bit. And a way of inverting it is saying, compare that to your own industry, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect. John, Mary, what do you do for a living, John? You already know that because you asked that in the discovery, right? So maybe John is an accountant and maybe Mary is, I don't know, a nurse, right? Well, hey, how about in your own industry, in accounting or even in nursing or in health management, right? What kind of a percentage rating does any company have? There will, no matter what you do, John and Mary, no matter what you do, even if you were the best accountant and the best nurse in the whole world, there's always going to be a percentage of people that aren't happy with what you've done. And as soon as you say that, guess what they're going to do? They're going to smile, they're going to laugh, they're going to giggle, because they know that even if they were at the top of their game, there will always be somebody who's not happy. Well, we have an X amount satisfaction rating. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Here's what you have done. You've set yourself up for later. God forbid you have to go down that route with them, or even much later. God forbid if after you make the sale and a couple days later, they're calling and they're wanting to rescind or they're having doubts about something that they read on the internet. Now you can make reference to that. And there's very subtle ways. You can be like, remember when we talked about that in the past? How everybody has those kind of, I mean, think about it. Your company, what's the name of your company? If I looked your company up on Google right now or on Trustpilot or anywhere else, are you telling me you're going to have 100% satisfaction rating? No, everybody's going to have something. The point is, what's the percentage? Because we have, and now what you do is you turn the numbers in your favor. We have X amount of owners in this company, whatever that number is to your company. And from the last time I checked, and you should know this because then you can use it, on Trustpilot or on Google or wherever, there, if you looked, number one, the majority of those aren't even people who bought. Those are people that are complaining about the sales presentation. I don't know why you even go on a sales presentation if you weren't at least interested in the product, right, Joe? Right, Mary? But for the ones that are owners, the majority of those aren't even owners. But even the ones that are owners, if you take that, it's probably, what, 10, 5, 20, whatever the number is that you think is on there, versus 100,000, 200,000, 400,000, 500,000, 1 million owners, whatever amount of owners your company has, and then just turn that into a percentage. That's less than 1%. What kind of a percentage do you have in your business, John? What kind of percentage you have in your business, Mary? It's a done deal once you put it into perspective. It's just like when people say they want to investigate, they want to do their research. What are you going to research? What are you going to research? What company are you planning to hire to do the research? Oh, you're going to Google it? Okay. What if you Googled your own company? What if you Googled your university? So the point is just to put, now, don't do it as combative as I did right now. I'm doing it like that just because I'm having the conversation with you, right? This is between us. I would never make it combative. But what I'm saying is all of this is the conversation you would have later, but let's go back to how we seeded it. All we did was leave that thread that we can refer to later. And that original thread really had nothing to do with a rescission. It would not create the rescission conversation in somebody's head. So, number one, How do you overcome rescissions? Number one is you avoid them. How do you avoid rescissions? Well, you seed it into the conversations. That's like the very first one. Number two, remain consistent throughout your presentation. What do I mean by remaining consistent? Don't do anything that is going to make them doubt who you are. Whatever you say and the TO says should be consistent with each other. If there's also somebody who's coming in to do the paperwork later, the QA, well then whatever you say, the TO says, and the QA says, they should all be consistent. If a manager was called in to approve something, whatever the manager says, the TO said, and you said, see, the whole point to a TO isn't to close something for you. I mean, it is in the beginning, but if you're any good, if you're worth your weight in salt, or you've been in it for a while, there's already a song and dance. It's about the song and dance. And the song and dance is that they're seeing, especially if we're talking frontline, right? They're seeing a second face, and that second face is reassuring everything that the first face said, because remember, they just met you and they're making a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 decision right now within 90 minutes. So they want to know that what you said was right and that they can trust you. So don't say or do anything that contradicts. Number two, here's an easy one. You ready for this one? Don't lie. Don't freaking lie. Learn to pitch your product in a way where you don't have to bend the truth, because the smarter or the more sophisticated that your customer is, the more that those little contradictions are going to create little red flags in their head. And guess what? A confused owner or a confused prospect doesn't purchase. They don't buy. And if they did, they're going to second guess themselves. And guess what that means? There's your rescission. So try to maintain that consistency throughout the whole presentation. Don't lie. But not only don't lie, make sure that the message that the TO, the dance between you and the TO, is giving the same message. And for my TOs out there, I know it's difficult, bro. I know it's difficult because but that's why you're good. You're dancing from table to table, and everybody has a different dance. And so if you try the same dance on this table that you did on the other table, that might create a little bit of a different, a little bit of an inconsistency. So maintain the consistency throughout the presentation yourself. Make sure that the message between yourself, the TO, and the manager is also the same. And then the last one, and this is where I was talking about the two schools. All right. There are two schools. I'm okay with either one, but I am of the second school, not the first. All right. And that is the button up. And the button up, for those of you that don't know that phrase, buttoning up your sale is exactly what it says, closing it, making sure that everything is nice and done correct so that you do not get a rescission. Now, the rescission comes later, but all of the feelings of insecurity, sometimes you can pick it up on their language. You can pick it up in their demeanor. You can pick it up in their body language. You can pick it up in their tonality. And you need to surface that. You need to get that out. And if that's the case, that's where you start keeping in mind, all right, I might have to button this up at the end. I only use the button up. So second school is you only use the button up when necessary. First school is you always button up the sale during every sale. So you got the yes, and then right before the yes, you go through a sequence to button that sale up. Now, there's a soft button up and a hard button up. A soft button up is just kind of, hey, guys, we've been here 90 minutes. You said you weren't going to get anything, and here you are getting it. What changed your mind? It's kind of a soft button up. The hard button up, and there's many, many different ones. I've always used the BMW button up. It kind of starts in the same way where I tell them, hey guys, I've been talking for a long time and I'm going to give you guys a chance now to kind of talk. And when you first got here, you said that there was no way on God's green earth that you were going to buy something, or that you weren't open to buying anything, or maybe you were slightly open to buying something, but you didn't really think you would. And here we are now about to, move forward with this. So I'm kind of curious, what were the reasons why you decided to do this? And let them sell themselves again on all the reasons why they decided to move forward. And now when they repeat that, you tell them, and the reason why I asked, by the way, guys, is just because, this isn't like a BMW. And I just let it sit and stay quiet. They're going to put all kinds of faces of bewilderment. They'll be like, huh, what the hell's a BMW got to do with timeshare? They're going to ask you, they're going to say, what do you mean like a BMW? Yeah, when you go out there and you buy a BMW, you look at the vehicle, you loved it, you took it home, and then you both go to sleep. And maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, maybe 3 days from now, 4 days, one of you is going to wake up in the middle of the night, oh my God, what did we do? What did we do? And that one that woke up like that, you're going to get the keys. You're going to go outside, open the car, get in the car, put your hands on that steering wheel and say, yeah, this is what we did. Well, you're not going to have that feeling here with this, right? You just bought a product that is going to give you vacations for the rest of your lives. But if you wake up 3, 4, 5 days from now, a week from now, and you wake up scared like that, there is no grab the keys and get in the car and grab the car moment. That happens when you take your first vacation, John. That happens when you take your first vacation, Mary. So what I want is, if either of you wake up in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 days and you wake up with that little scare, I want the other to remind you of all the things that we talked about today. That fair, John? Yeah. Is that fair, Mary? Yeah. There's an even harder one if they're starting to give a little bit of resistance, or if you're starting to see that they're really kind of nervous, where you just get the paperwork and you pull it aside. If you really want to be dramatic, you like literally almost throw it away and you say, hey guys, look, you seem a little bit uncomfortable. Vacations is about having fun. And right now you guys seem a little tense. If you don't want to do this, we'll throw it. Let me know. We'll throw it away right now. We will stop right here. Now, it's risky, but guess what? If they were already displaying that kind of behavior, you need it to come out so that you can address it. So those are some of the ways of buttoning up the presentation. By the way, typically, if there was some hesitation and you got over it and you did that strong button up or that strong takeaway, the likelihood that it will rescind later is very low because you've addressed it. The problem is when there is some kind of lack of clarity or confusion or fear and it was never addressed and it bubbles up later because you're the last person they're going to want to talk to. They're going to want to talk to each other, or even worse, their friend or family member, because now your deal is in someone else's hands. So that's how to avoid it. But now let's say you're in the thick of it already and you got the dreaded, how many of you get a call from someone and you either don't know the number or you know the number and you're like, oh man, and you don't pick up the phone? That's the first mistake. That's the very first mistake. They just spent $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 with you. They want to know that if they call, that you're willing to pick up the phone, that you're giving face to what you sold them. So that's mistake number one. Never do that. Never do. And we're all guilty of it. We've all done it. But guess what? The people who are most successful are the ones who have done it the least. Pick up that damn phone. But let's say you didn't, or let's say they left a message, or let's say they did call. Hey, we've had some. Sometimes they'll say we've got some questions for you. Sometimes they'll say, look, we've decided not to move forward or whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you don't even get a call or anything. They decided to rescind all on their own, and the office is letting you know that there was a rescission, which, by the way, if you're leadership, you should always, 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 always let them know at the end of the day, guys. Why in the world would you? Some people say, well, yeah, no, I want to tell them in the morning so they can try and save it. It's early in the morning. They're about to get a tour. Do you think they need that in their head? Let them save it after they got another sale and their confidence is way up here, or let them save it after going zero for the day anyway. They're already in a bad mood anyway, right? But let them, so that they have a day to reset for tomorrow. Don't give, unless they ask for it specifically, don't give people that information early in the morning. Give it to them after they're done for the day so that they can still handle it, but they've got a whole cycle of a time cycle of, a half a day to fix, but so they can show up tomorrow ready to do what they do every day. Anyway, it's one of my pet peeves. So you got the call, you got the rescission. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, there are some people that are incredibly good at saving their deals, and if you had I'm pretty decent at it. I know some people that are even better than I am, that if you had really good rapport, you can go back and this has happened to me, by the way, where they've called and I knew it was a rescission, and when I call them, all they needed was some reassuring from me. So the fact that I answered the call or that I called back, and number two, that I put them back. So here's the funny thing about it. We all know about the ether, right? When somebody's on your presentation, they're on the timeshare ether, the vacation ether. Now they went back home and they're out of the ether and they're back in life again. And they started with their panic and their stress, and maybe all that crap has nothing to do with you or the product. But the minute that you got back on the phone, your tone, your way of being, the way you spoke brought them back into the ether and reassured them, and that was all they needed. Sometimes all they need is someone to tell them that it's going to be okay. Sometimes not. But a lot of the times, that'll happen. However, I had a coworker that had a great way of handling rescissions, so much so that we turned it into something that we did with all of us, right? I'm sure this is something that she learned from many, 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 many years ago as well. Bottom line is, a lot of people use this, but if you don't know this, you should. And it's called the retention department. Not closed, because they're already closed. It's the save. How do you save it? The way you save it, number one, is it should never be you that calls back. As a matter of fact, it's preferable that it's not you or the TO. A lot of TOs are not going to like that, but guess what? If you're a TO, I don't care if you're the best TO in the world. If you're a TO and you rarely have had luck in turning deals around, then give it a try anyway. Have a third party. Now, the third party could be your manager, could be your director of sales, could be another TO that wasn't on the table. Hell, it could be just another sales executive. It doesn't matter who it is. But that third party, somebody that's outside of the sale, is calling the customer and saying, hi, this is so-and-so. I'm calling you from XYZ Vacation Club. I'm with the retention department. At that moment, they are with the retention department. Are they not helping you retain a deal? Yes. I'm with the retention department here. We take our deals very seriously, and we take our guests very seriously. I just want to ask you a couple questions to make sure that you were treated right and to help you with your refund. Is that okay? It's very important that you say the end and to help you with your refund so that they don't feel that you're just trying to save the sale, right? You're going to give them the information, whatever information it is. It may be, hey, it's already being processed. And they know that's already, maybe it's, hey, you can expect it in 20 days or 30 days or whatever the case may be. So there's no lying here. The person is serving as the retention department at that moment. I just want to ask you a couple questions. Number one, the decision that you made not to move forward, is this because of our sales agent? Did they say or do something that made you not want to continue business with us? Now, you're hoping to God that they're going to say no, right? Because if they did, then obviously, clearly, you've got some bigger work to do. But 9 times out of 10, they don't want to get somebody in trouble. They just want their money back because they're having confusion and they've changed their mind or they're confused about the decision, right? So they're going to say, oh, no, hell no. That person was great. They're actually going to defend you at that moment, right? They're going to say that person was great. They treated us really well. They were very knowledgeable and this and that and yada, 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 yada. Oh, okay, great. So it wasn't the salesperson. Okay. Do you guys know where I'm going already with this? Yeah. So was it the product? Was it something about the product specifically? No, the product seems great. It was good. It was this. It was that. Okay. Oh, so it wasn't the salesperson. It wasn't the product. Just curious. Is it financial? Is it a financial? What you're doing is you're getting them to really unearth where the confusion was, right? What is it where's the fear here? And they're going to tell you. If it was a salesperson, guess what? That's on you. You did something in your presentation that made that uncertainty grow. Just like you seeded, you reverse seeded. You seeded negative instead of positive. Something in your presentation went wrong. Could still be saved. But anyway. Now, if it's the product, okay, good. Because then you're going to go deeper in having them explain what was it about the product, and the person will be able to overcome that. And if it was price, well, that's even better, because then the retention department will listen. We have an X percentage satisfaction rating. The last thing we want are any negative marks there. Plus, we're very proud here at XYZ Vacation Club. We don't want to lose you. We understood that, okay, I understand now this was price-based, but aside from that, was there anything else? No, you like the product. You like, all right. Well, here at the retention department, we can do things that nobody else can do, because our whole purpose is to try and prevent losing you. And this is where there's going to be either a drop, or usually a drop and an increase in some kind of bonuses or something that makes them want to consider staying. Now, it doesn't always work, but guess what? It was already a rescission anyway. But it works enough to where it's worth doing. So anyway, that's the save that you do with the retention department. It's really good. And then the last one, just let it go. Listen, you make an effort to save it. You showed up like you said you would. You tried to overcome whatever objections they may have. You gave them certainty where they didn't have certainty. At that moment, I know it hurts because you spent over an hour and a half, probably a hell of a lot more after that with them. But you know what else you can't have is you can't have all that negativity souring yourself for tomorrow's presentation. So do everything you possibly could. Get another face involved. Try the retention close. And then you know what? Let it go. Get ready for next. You guys know what the timeshare salute is? Gone. I don't even remember it. Learn the lesson and move on. Guys, my name is Coach CeeLo. I have helped thousands of other sales professionals reach, attain, maintain 6 figures. You keep listening to us, you'll be next. I'm out of here.